What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to JellyGoonTV. Welcome back to all you beautiful people on YouTube. Welcome back to the new viewers and welcome back to the JellyGoon squad. Of course, I love you motherfuckers so good, man. You already know what it is. So we back with another reaction video. But before we get to that, I want to say there's a Patreon down below. There's some music you can go support down below. So if you want to, support my other work, please go down there, man. So, yeah, today we have another comment request by this beautiful person right here. And we're going to react to ancient Rome in 20 minutes. Now, that's going to be interesting because we're going to see what the Romans actually did and how much they did, So, the story of Rome in 20 minutes, man. So, yeah, let's get into this, man, and see what it's all about. Let's go.
Here are the letters the Romans gave us.
Ooh. Okay.
And here are the countries whose languages derive from Latin.
Oh, wow.
Today they cover half the world. As for the ancient Romans, the boundaries of their state encompassed their entire civilization.
Wow.
The Roman peace, or Pax Romana, serves as the first example of globalization. Let's take a walk across 12
messed up, but yeah.
Roman history. And yes, those numerals...
Let me pause here. Lord Voldemort looking motherfucker. Look at this guy, man. He looks like Lord Voldemort. I'm just saying, man. The statue does. He has no nose, no nothing, man. It's crazy, man. But I just want to say that we reacted to the Greeks, the history of the Greeks, or whatever, the history of Alexander the Great, sorry. And he basically shows us what you can do in a little bit amount of time with a lot of soldiers and a lot of strategies and a lot of good fighting. You know what I mean? Like, this guy was crazy. He took over the world, man. He really did, man. So, yeah. But go check that video out, of course. But the Romans give us many things. But let's see what they're up to. Let's go.
Also a Roman legacy.
Ancient Rome in 6 minutes, okay? The Age of Kings, okay? Let's get it.
What is Rome? A city on 7 hills, capital of Italy. But that is today. And 2,000 years ago, there it is.
Wow.
Another 1,000 years ago, there. A tiny tribal settlement of the Latins by the river Tiber. How did this manage to conquer the world? First, it was lucky with its neighbors. To the north, the Etruscans of modern Tuscany, a mysterious people whose language has never been fully deciphered. To the south, Greek colonies. These peoples all traded with each other.
Nice.
It was at the crossroads of their trade routes that Rome appeared.
So they already made a little empire.
From the very start, Rome has been an open city, a safe haven for outcasts, murderers, runaway slaves.
What?
Rome offered migrants a unique opportunity to become fully fledged citizens. This will make Rome the largest metropolitan city of the ancient world.
Wow.
The Romans themselves believed they were descendants of refugees from the Middle East who had survived the Trojan War.
Let me pause this. It was basically thieves, slaves, and everything scum on the earth that people they thought back then was scum. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy, man. That's actually very beautiful to see, man, that they get a government and they get a community together and just be whoever they want to be, man. That's crazy, man. I love that. I love that aspect of history, man. That's nice. Let's go.
Romulus and Remus were the great-grandchildren of the Trojan hero Aeneas. Nursed by an Italian she-wolf, the brothers quarreled where to site the future world capital. Romulus killed Remus, gave his name to the city, and became its first ruler. As legend has it, there were 7 kings, each of which enjoyed a lengthy reign and left some beneficial legacy. A calendar, a sewer system, or the Capitolium, a temple to the senior god Jupiter. Much of what the Romans later became famous for, aqueducts, bridges, perhaps even the gladiatorial games, were borrowed from the Etruscans.
Wow.
This people had invented the Latin alphabet by adapting the Greek letters for their own needs. It's not surprising that their last king...
Let me pause here, man. So they basically took some shit and made it their own, man. That's originality right there, man. They copied some shit and then they made it their own, man. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. But this country right here, Italy or whatever you call it, Rome or whatever, it grew up to be a big-ass city with big-ass beautiful statues, big-ass beautiful city, ancient ruins. Like, it's just beautiful to see Rome like that, man. It's really beautiful to see the history too, man. There's a lot of history in Rome, of course, but I just wanted to say, man, they just steal things. Let's go.
Or Etruscan.
I love
Rome
Italy.
borrowed her military and government organization from them, while maintaining her stern patriarchal simplicity. In 509, Rome was shaken by a sex scandal. The son of King Tarquin the Proud raped the chaste Lucretia. Tarquin was expelled.
Sounds like a good idea.
Last king of Rome.
Rape is never certified, man. It's never, like, no.
The Romans decided to prevent any such concentration of power ever again. From 509 onwards, they elected 2 consuls to serve a year apiece, instead of a monarch. The consuls were controlled by the Senate. This consisted of 300 fathers, patres in Latin, hence the term patricians. Those not so lucky to be born into the right families joined the plebs. Even if they were as rich as patricians, they were not entitled to take up positions in the state. It is in the 200-year struggle for these rights that the Republic, literally meaning public thing, will be formed. The plebeians would make up the backbone of the army, and to have their own way, they would threaten the fledgling state with emigration to a neighboring hill. Each time, the scared patricians caved in, introducing, for instance, the special position of a representative or tribune of the plebeians. These had the right to veto any decisions of the consuls. One of the main achievements of the struggle was the publication of the first written laws.
Lex.
By 287 BC, the plebeians had achieved complete equality of rights with the patricians. The unity of Rome found its best expression in the formula Senatus Populusque Romanus, the Senate and the Roman people, which still adorns the manhole covers in Rome.
Nice. It's kind of weird, but yeah, get it? Kind of disrespectful,
in 390 BC, the history of Rome could have come to an end. The city was unexpectedly taken by the Gauls. The guard dogs had sensed no danger, for which they would be crucified every year since. Geese awoke the last protectors of the Capitoline Hill fortress instead, saving Rome from complete destruction.
Wow.
The shaken Romans conducted a military reform. The Roman legion was divided into manipuli, making it more mobile in battle. The Roman army spent the next 100 years in constant wars. Instead of simply imposing a tribute on the conquered, the Romans would enter into a treaty of alliance with them. And the loyal allies supply Rome with a never-ending stream of recruits. Thanks to this, the Roman legions were able to stand their ground in battle with the most efficient fighting force of the time. The all-conquering Macedonian phalanx, led by Pyrrhus, a relative of Alexander the Great. The last stronghold of resistance.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy to know. Let me pause this. So, what I said was we just reacted to Alexander the Great's video of history, Epic TV, if you want to go check that out. And this guy's a descent of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great took over everything, man. He's a crazy guy, man. But I really do respect it, man. I respect it a lot. But this guy came over, but I don't think Rome, they're going to bow down like that. So let's go.
Tarentum then hired the most costly and celebrated contemporary warlord of the time to defend against Roman expansion. Having conquered Tarentum and reached Sicily, Rome now had to take on a much more dangerous adversary, Carthage, lord of the Mediterranean. The Romans called the Phoenicians of Carthage Punics, hence the Punic Wars. They were fought for the next 100 years. In 149 BC, Rome had taken the greater part of Punic territory and that of their allies, but after each defeat, the trading power of Carthage would rapidly recover. Senator Cato the Elder began to finish every speech with the same refrain: Carthage must be destroyed. And so
everybody hates them, man.
The city was wiped out, all of its population was enslaved, allegedly plowing salt into the earth as an eternal curse. Also in 146 BC, the Romans wiped out another city, Corinth, making Greece and Macedonia Roman provinces. Rome appropriated the colossal riches of the disintegrating empire of Alexander, but the patriarchal simplicity of Rome succumbed to the sophisticated Greek culture. Greek became, in effect, a second state language. The Roman nobility busied itself learning new words, hexameter, history, rhetoric. Cicero, the most famed orator of Rome, would come to model his speeches on those of the Greek Demosthenes. However, across this immense territory, full rights were only afforded to the Romans themselves. Even other Italians, the majority of the military, had no citizenship rights. These would demand equality, declare war, and win the right to take part in managing the state. This was a total game changer. While ancient Greece remained a collection of squabbling city-states, Rome gradually extended citizenship rights to the conquered, laying down the basis for an empire.
So you basically giving passport to everybody, man. Fuck that. Civil wars and the fall of the Republic. What?
Having conquered half the world, Rome fell victim to globalization. Cheap grain and an inflow of unpaid slave labor bankrupted the small farmers. These rushed into the cities and joined the ranks of the proletariat, those who have nothing to lose except their own offspring. At the same time, the rich grew 100 times richer, having bought land from the ruined peasants for a song. Previously united, the Senate and the Roman people split into two hostile camps. The tribunes of the people, the Gracchi brothers, would try to reconcile them. They proposed granting excess public lands to the impoverished
so it's like politics over again, man.
Free distribution.
Let me pause here. This is what a perfect example of politics is. Like, this is what politics does. It split you up all the time, man. There's also this and them. Like, them and us. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of crazy to see, man, that a big-ass empire that could actually do great things and take over the world splits up and everything. That just means you can't be too big because people, they're gonna, you know, mess up. But let's go.
Of bread to the poor. The disgruntled senators decided to suppress the Gracchi movement by force, killing the brothers and several thousand of their allies. Rome was gripped by civil wars. Social mobility for the proletariat was offered by Gaius Marius, a popular general. He began enrolling the proletariat into the army with a promise of a grant of land at the end of service. This would make the legions personally devoted to their generals.
Of course, you're buying
In 49 BC, two outstanding generals fought over Rome. Gnaeus Pompeius had won the eastern provinces for Rome, including restless Judea.
Oh, wow.
Cleared the Mediterranean of piracy, defeated Spartacus' slave revolt, and justifiably added the title Great to his name. Gaius Julius Caesar had conquered Gaul. Nowadays, they would call it genocide. He butchered 1 million Gauls and enslaved as many more. He went on to defeat the Germans and then invaded Britain. According to the law, a general had to dismiss his legions before returning to Rome, and in return have his moment of glory, a triumphal entry into the capital to the applause of the citizens.
That's crazy.
Caesar performed a hitherto unseen maneuver. He refused to submit to the Senate, and having crossed the Italian border...
Now, let me just pause here. I want to say that they are smart guys. Okay, so, I want to say that they're smart masters, they're smart bosses, they're smart everything. Like, they're smart strategically. Everything they did was right? No, it was not. It was not humane, and it was... I hope they burn up in hell for what they did. Of course, I hate them morally. But I have to respect the way that they did it. The way that back then, you had to do this in order to survive, to make your country survive. You had to kill people. You had to do this stuff. Now, this guy was greedy? Yes, he was. Did he do the right thing? I don't believe so. Is he a strategic genius? I think it's very nice to see that he took over the world. Now, the kids and the women and all the men that he slain and killed, no, it's not okay. But I'm just saying, man, it's crazy to see these worlds and these small countries building up, and then taking over the world, man. It's just crazy, man. Like, for example, Denmark and the Vikings, Sweden, Norway, whatever. We took over the world, basically. Like, we did some good things, man. We did some good things back then, like some strategic war things. We did some good things, because we made fear in your hearts. That's what we did. We will call the devil of the north or something like that. I don't know, man. It's crazy shit. We'll call something with the devil, man. But, yeah, the Roman even respected us. It is what it is, man. But I'm just saying that you can say whatever you want to say, but back then it was very different. Like, there's smart people, like, too much when you take over and you influence, it's very smart. But being a small country and don't have any influence is, of course, stupid. Because back then, you're not going to do anything right. You're not going to do anything political. You're not going to do anything. I'm just saying, man. Please don't be mad at me. I'm just saying. Smart guys, man. But, no, I don't respect them. I hope they burn in hell, of course. Let's go.
The river Rubicon marched his legions to Rome. It would take him several years to
so he actually went back to kill him.
Rivals, pitting
That's
Roman
crazy.
legions against each other. In the process, Caesar annexed new territories and gave Cleopatra the Egyptian throne. After a romantic cruise along the Nile, she would give birth to Caesarion, or Little Caesar. On his return, Caesar would add Imperator, or Emperor, to his name, title originally meaning victorious commander, and gain control of all political positions: consul, tribune of the people, and dictator. Rumors spread that Caesar wanted to declare himself king. Conspiracy was brewing in the Senate, and Caesar was assassinated. Caesar left his wealth, quite unexpectedly for all concerned, to his grandnephew, 19-year-old Gaius Octavius. This Octavian immediately joined in the power struggle. In 31 BC, he defeated his last rival, the warlord Mark Antony, who likewise had an affair with Cleopatra. The lovers would take their own lives. Octavian was left sole ruler of a vast territory.
Empire, the age of Augustus. Now I just want to say, let me pause here, man. I just want to say that it's kind of crazy to see that Caesar actually got killed by that, man. He just, you know, he wanted to declare himself king, man. That's crazy. Let's go.
Julius Caesar ruled for 4 years. Octavian, assuming the title Augustus...
No, but I know it's not that guy, but you know what I mean.
For an endless 43 years.
Never mind.
He didn't formally abolish the Republic. He simply took control of all possible positions, making his power almost absolute. But he modestly called himself Princeps, the first senator. And even though skirmishes with barbarians continued along the borders, inside them the period of Pax Romana set in, a period of peace and stability that was to last 200 years. The empire experienced an economic upswing. Bread was distributed for free to 200,000 people. On Augustus' orders, a 500-meter basin was dug at the very center of the capital, where 3,000 gladiators mimicked sea battles on real seagoing vessels. In Rome, construction was booming. Concrete multi-story districts were growing. Augustus had to introduce height regulations, limiting skyscrapers to 6 floors. And still the citizens were unhappy. They complained about traffic jams, pollution of the waters of the Tiber, and
that's crazy, man. Let me pause here. No matter what world you live in, and no matter how good you have it, or what government you have, or what, if you have capitalism, if you have communism, if you have socialism, if you have Marxism, or whatever you call it, man, whatever these crazy things are called, you're already going to have something to complain about. Always have something to complain about. Know how good you have it, no much how much money you have, it doesn't really matter, because you're always going to complain about something that is bad in your life, and instead of just being happy for what you got, man. It's kind of crazy, man. It's kind of crazy that we so fucked up as human beings to do all this shit. But never mind that, let's go.
The golden century of poetry.
I'm talking to you, mother
Maecenas, a quasi-minister of culture, allocated special grants to praise the value of the state. Temples would be built in the honor of Augustus, and even a month was named after him.
Actually, that's true.
The Roman emperors was emerging. They would come to be venerated alongside Mars and Jupiter.
The first imperials, alright?
After Augustus' power became hereditary, the senatorial opposition has left us vivid portraits of the first emperors. Suspicious Tiberius unleashed terror under the pretext of the law on treason. Under this law, any action could be deemed offensive. It was enough not to sufficiently praise the emperor or pay at a brothel with coins bearing his portrait. In distant Judea, a preacher refusing to worship the emperor as God was crucified. Caligula wanted to make his horse a consul. A scholar and gourmet, Claudius, was too occupied with feasting and the reforming of the alphabet to keep an eye on court intrigue. One of his wives, Messalina, was giving women of easy virtue a run for their money in the brothels. And the other, Agrippina, poisoned Claudius to enthrone her son from another marriage, Nero. Nero, believing that he was a born actor, not an emperor, would later kill his own mother, and then allegedly the apostles Peter and Paul. Then he again, allegedly, set fire to Rome, so as to read the verses on the fall of Troy during the blaze. He would accuse the first Christians of arson, and initiated their persecution. And finally, he took his own life.
Man, that's crazy.
Most details of this era are known from Tacitus, a historian and senator who observed the degradation of republican institutions. Fate of the empire was now decided not so much by the Senate as by the Praetorian Guards, the emperor's personal security force, created back in the times of Augustus. These suffocated Tiberius with a cushion, slayed Caligula by the sword, and hailed Claudius emperor. In all fairness, at the same time, the empire grew, expanding into new territories. Roman legions conquered part of Britain, where they founded a town called Londinium. Provinces were given a transparent taxation system, and the
Let me pause here. It's kind of crazy. Londinium. 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 It's kind of crazy name that is actually London now. Like, not right there, but you know what I mean, man. It's kind of crazy to see, man. It's kind of beautiful that the Romans actually give a lot of things. That's the reason why there's a lot of, like, Greek things. Like, the Greeks give a lot to the world. There's a lot of Latin. There's a lot of things that is actually, you know, integrated into our language. There's many things that words that comes from the Greek word that we actually translate into, you know. Yeah, it is what it is, man. But it's kind of beautiful to see that this kind of culture is all the way up. Of course, they killed a lot of guys and girls, but it is what it is, man. Let's go.
Nobility began to enter the Senate en masse. A grandchild of an Italian peasant, Vespasian Flavius would become the founder of the next dynasty. Vespasian and Titus, suppressing the uprising in Judea, committed genocide, again according to modern day, not Roman standards, and reduced the Temple of Jerusalem to nothing but the Wailing Wall. On a lighter note, Vespasian had a jolly good Roman predisposition. He taxed...
Oh yeah, I was like, what? That's toilets.
And Titus, the destroyer of Jerusalem, would nevertheless obtain the title of Merciful. After a splendid triumph, he opened the Colosseum for the people. Titus would be called the love and consolation of humankind. And after such festivities had depleted the public treasury, Vesuvius destroyed Pompeii, plague devastated half Italy, and Titus
he became a guard. Alright, whatever, man. God.
The 2nd century would go down in history as the era of the good emperors. Trajan was considered by his contemporaries the best emperor ever. Rome became a million-strong city, and the empire reached its largest extent. Rome connected her new territories via a network of paved roads. This system still determines the transport map of Europe. After Trajan's conquest, Hadrian busied himself with defense, erecting massive fortifications in Britain and between the Rhine and the Danube. Pantheon was built in Rome, the first temple to be topped by a massive dome, a real architectural sensation of the day, dedicated to all the gods. Hadrian would also include his lover among them, the young Antinius. More of his images have survived than of any Roman. The last good emperor, the throned philosopher, Marcus Aurelius, would spend most of his reign on military expeditions. In between battles, he wrote his manifesto for Stoic philosophy, Meditations.
Good for him. The crisis of empire,
It was under Marcus Aurelius' son, Commodus, that the Pax Romana, the Roman peace, came to an end. He preferred a gladiator's glory to the affairs of state. Conspirators had the emperor strangled by a fellow fighter, the slave Narcissus. Rome sank into chaos. The next 100 years brought a sequence of random emperors proclaimed by the army. Taking their turn on the throne were a liberated slave, a fortune seeker who bought the throne at an auction. General Punic descent would place statues of the former enemy, Hannibal, all over the empire, a Syrian priest of the sun, and a former shepherd who owed his popularity.
Let me pause here. So Rome is basically into chaos right now. That is kind of crazy to see that everybody just got at the throne and everybody kills everybody. Just, you know, everything's going crazy, man. That's fucked up. I didn't actually know that. Let's go. Man, that's crazy.
His powerful physique. In 212, Emperor Caracalla, half North African, half Syrian, granted Roman citizenship to nearly all free subjects of the empire. The idea that you could be a Roman in Judea, in Africa, or any other corner of the empire at all might well be the main legacy of Rome still in use today. By mid-century, Rome was already in the midst of such a crisis that the whole provinces were starting to split off. The Gauls, for instance, proclaimed an empire of their own. Order would be restored by the son of a liberated slave, Diocletian. Having started his career as a soldier, he would end up an absolute monarch, an astonishing example of social mobility. Diocletian split the empire into four, with 4 co-rulers at 4 capitals, situated closer to the frontier. Rome lost its significance. The Senate became a town council. The country was now ruled by an army of officials personally reporting to the emperor. Thus, the ancient world, centered around the concept of a free community and free citizens, came to an end. From the princeps, the first senator, the emperor had become the domus, a title by which slaves addressed their masters. The citizen became a subject, the warrior turned into a soldier, and the farmer a semi-serf. Diocletian himself resigned from the post of emperor 20 years later and went off to his estate.
Okay, I guess
cabbages.
the end of the empire.
After Diocletian's departure, the co-rulers were fighting for power. Constantine, the future Saint Constantine the Great, emerging victorious. Before the crucial battle for Rome, he allegedly had a vision of a cross. After this, he made all religions equal. After 300 years of persecutions, the Christians came out of the catacombs and were now entitled to build churches alongside the temples of Augustus and Mars. Constantine would take the cross from Jerusalem to the new capital of the Roman Empire, Constantinople. Theodosius I would make Christianity the official religion and begin to destroy the ancient temples. He would also be the last emperor of a united Roman Empire.
Wow. So he actually destroyed a lot of history, man. That's crazy.
The eastern half would live another 1,000 years and is known to us as Byzantium. The western part would fall victim to the great migration of peoples. Rome, founded by migrants, would fall to the onslaught of a new wave of refugees. Ironically, the last ruler of Rome would be called
That's
Romulus.
Crazy. Postscriptum.
In modern Rome, not far from the Colosseum and the ruins of the Forum, there is a tomb. Its occupant was neither emperor nor senator, but a simple baker called Ulysses. Likely born a slave into a family of Greek migrants, he later entered into a bread supply contract with the capital and became so rich that he could build such a monument for himself and his wife. Before Rome, in ancient Egypt and elsewhere, or after Rome during the Middle Ages, a man would die in the same station in life as he had been born in. The life and career of Ulysses is an answer to the question of how Rome was able to create a global state that lasted
That's crazy,
over
man.
1,000
That
years.
is really crazy. All right, let's pause here, man. That is crazy, man. I really do like the story about Rome. I like the story about that. But they have a lot of Greek influence, of course. There's a lot of things to talk about, but I'm not going to go into it because I'm really not that kind of a history buff. But I just want to say that it's actually beautiful to see there are so many times that actually Rome and all these countries, they actually been like the biggest ones. You know what I mean? Like, it's always the small ones that end up being big. And it's kind of crazy to see, man. But there's a lot of consequences when you come with a big country, when you start a big country, you have a big army. And that is that people are going to get greedy. People are going to kill you. People are going to stab you in the back. And there's so much in history of that. Like, there's no loyalty. There is so much disloyalty in the history that is unbelievable, man. It's really unbelievable. Imagine killing your own mother. Imagine stabbing your son in the back. Imagine killing your father because something happened. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of crazy. I'm not justifying anything, but I'm saying there is some things that actually is okay. Like, I understand why you did it, but still, it's butchery to stab somebody in the back. But disloyalty is it's a theme nowadays that everybody is actually, you know, they grew out of their skin and now they're actually showing it. It is what it is, man. But that was a beautiful video. I just want to say thank you so much for the comment request. That was beautiful to know about Rome in 20 minutes. What a history, man. And you could probably take this, you could take it over fucking thousands of years to explain why they did what they did and not you why they did what they did. But I know you're gonna handle that in the comments like you always bitch and complain down in the comments down below. But first I want to say there are some beautiful comments down below and I love you so much for it. Thank you so much for writing what you feel about my videos. Thank you for calling me positive. Thank you for, you know, dissing me in a nice way, saying I'm not right or something like that. I just want to say that I love you guys and girls with my heart. You are the most beautiful thing that I have ever seen on this earth. And thank you so much for wasting your time on these videos. That's just what I want to say. I know you're probably not going to watch the last of this video, but I'm just saying I love you guys, man. So yeah, if you like this video, please hit the like button down below to show massive support, of course. And if you really want to support this channel, we almost at 2,000 subscribers. And I just can't believe that we went this far in such a short time. It's amazing, and I owe it to you guys and girls that actually show support to this channel. So the JellyGoon Squad, stand the hell up, man. It is what it is. And thank you so much. So if you really want to support this channel when you're new in this video, please do. Subscribe and hit that notification button so you become a member of the JellyGoon Squad. And you'll get notified on the videos that comes up. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to move on into the next one. Peace.